Let's go. Cool kids step to the front. Cool kids. Too sweet sign for the click.
Bitch, you don't work
Gotta
there.
get the people what they want. Gotta get Roddy K quick. Yeah, I'm up next on the Prince. They ain't been the same ever since. Living pretty
You're gonna be
well on the
single for the
chairman.
rest of your
I ain't
life.
giving no chance like this. Brock Lesnar on the beat.
Look at the heat.
Eat, sleep,
Look at
flex,
the
and
heat.
repeat. Whole new swag with a price on the tag. Coming live from the west to the east. Better recognize on the mouthpiece.
Watch
See the
that.
power level gotta increase.
I get no bitches.
I'm a daily. Feeling like Gresham unleashed.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, non-binary pals, baby mamas, baby daddies, and everybody in between, welcome back to the Gresham Unleashed podcast. Joining me for the very first time officially is someone who is, quite frankly, one of the hardest workers in the game that I've had the pleasure of meeting. He is none other than Phoenix Nitro. What is good with you, brother?
You, that's quite the intro you done gave me. The hardest. Wow, I wouldn't go that far, but I mean, I appreciate it.
I pay attention. I pay attention.
Hey, it is what it is. I mean, I would say you the hardest worker because you had to work your ass down at SummerSlam to come say what's good. You know what I'm saying?
Boy, those stairs. Oh my God. I had to climb the
Bro.
stairs because the elevator was taking 20 years to get to my level. I said, fuck that. Let me just go ahead and jog.
Bro, that building was fucking like, I know there was only like half filled, but even half filled, that shit was so busy. I ain't never been in a stadium like that before. That was the first time I was in something like
I
that.
believe that was my first. No, I was in the Georgia Dome when I was a kid.
Oh, word for what?
I believe it was Disney on Ice.
Oh shit. Yeah, because I'm from like an hour out. Like I was born from like an hour out of Atlanta. So I never got to go to a dome show. The most I ever did was the Phillips Arena. I'm never calling it anything else than the Phillips Arena. It's
The State Farm Arena or the Mercedes. No, the Georgia Dome. People who from Atlanta or near Atlanta. That's the Georgia Dome.
Ain't nothing else. I think the same thing right now with people that are in LA. If you call the Staples Center anything other than the Staples Center, you need to get left smacked across the face.
What is the new Staples Center name?
The Crypto Arena. The Crypto Arena.
On purpose?
I don't know why they did that, bro. It's so dumb, but I'm good. I appreciate being on here. I've been wanting to do this. We've been wanting to do this for a minute, but I've been busy. The moment that we had scheduled for this, I ended up going on. I think I was gone from my crib for like 2 weeks because I went from my house to North Carolina for Deadlock, and then right from North Carolina I went to Philly to go see my son, and then right from Philly I went to Indianapolis, and then while I was in Indianapolis to sign with Naptown All Pro, I went to Nashville, Tennessee to go SummerSlam, and then right after SummerSlam is finally when I got back home. So
and then when that was done, I was like, okay, so now that you got all that out of the way, let me see what my schedule is. Oh shit, I'm booked.
We've been trying to get this done for a minute, but we finally here, and it's about to be great.
And because I had to squeeze you in before I go out of town, because literally once this is edited and up, ready to put it in the queue, I'm gonna be recording with my main co-host, Swallow the Banner. Shout out to the queen. She's gonna be, me and her are gonna. We had to do a retro review. We pretty much taking a break from modern wrestling because modern wrestling has been kind of hit or miss, give or take. So sometimes we were like, you know what, let's just step back in time, do that. Then I'm gonna be literally in Denver this weekend. Then I'm going to North Carolina all next week. And then I will be right back for 1 day. And it's funny how that 1 day I will be back is when Deadlock is supposed to be having their next show. And I was like, do I really want to go back to North Carolina for a show and then come right back? Because then I have to go right back to North Carolina for another show. And then I'll be right back right in time for my birthday. So
bro, crazy, man.
A lot of shit for the month of October.
busy, bro. That's how we stay. That's how we be. That's the life of the grind,
That's what, and then that's what me and Swella said off air a few times. It was like, a lot of people don't understand the grind that we have to go through as creators, and
not at all.
And it's like, I understand you guys want to be entertained, but sometimes you got to let us breathe,
bro.
Just a little bit.
As somebody who took a damn near a 6-month break, trust me, I understand. I know exactly. We could shake my hand real quick. Shake my hand. You know what I'm saying? Oh man, we done made the cameras go out of focus for a second. We good.
My bad. 4K. All right. Caught me in 4K, literally. But before we move on, ladies and gentlemen, before we move on to today's podcast, we're going to give a special shout out to our Patreon backers, patreon.com/ScratchDigital. Without you guys, this podcast would not be possible because every dollar or whatever you guys part your hard-earned money with, it comes right to this podcast and helps keep us going. And speaking of plugging stuff, shout out to those who have been purchasing the new merch, new Gresh merch, the Black AF merch that just dropped last month. And speaking of new merch that just dropped, got the new flexing season merch, the shirt that I'm rocking right now, flexing season, that has officially dropped on October 1st, and exclusively for the month of October, there is a purple and gold version that is available now that's going to disappear on the 31st. So once Halloween, boof, it's going to go right away. And without further delay, let us get right back into this conversation. But for those of you who aren't familiar with your work, who is exactly Phoenix Nitro?
If I had to sum it down a little bit to a couple sentences, I'd probably say I am one of the founding members of the wrestling content group VYBE. That's VYBE. I make WWE 2K content. I was one of the original wrestling next makers for 2K. I've been making wrestling video game content for a decade, but like seriously, like for a job for about 3 to 4 years now, going on 4 years, I believe. And then now my newest venture, if you will, the narrator of violence. I commentate actual professional wrestling now for Naptown All Pro, a professional wrestling company based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. So that's what I would say now is the justification for Phoenix Nitro. You know what I'm saying?
Where would they be able to find NAP?
So you can find Naptown All Pro on Independent Wrestling TV. By the time this drops, the show that I commentated, the first show that I commentated for them, should be out on IWTV. It is called Naptown All Pro Presents Ultra Light Beam. That show is main evented with a huge match. If you're familiar with Deadlock Pro Wrestling, you're going to be familiar with this match because it is a trios match with the High Flying Star Machines, which consist of the Deadlock Pro Wrestling World Champion Bojack, his partner Diego Hill, as well as BK Westbrook. They take on Calvin Tankman, the DPW National Champion, as well as Chase Holiday and Sean Kemp. But Naptown All Pro also has a show coming up on October 16th called Dreams and Nightmares, which I'm very, very excited to call. There's a lot of great matches. There's 9 matches on the main card featuring the IWTV, the Independent Wrestling World Championship, as AC Mack goes to defend that championship against Hoodfoot Mo Atlas in the main event of the evening. And that is a PWI recognized a world championship. So getting to commentate that for me is pretty special. I would definitely appreciate if y'all checked out Naptown All Pro. It is ran by 6 of some of my closest friends. Most specifically, J Rose is by far one of my best friends in the world, right? And like ever. He is such a great guy, man. I highly recommend y'all check out Naptown All Pro Wrestling. It is one of the best independent wrestling companies out on the scene right now, ran by Indianapolis for Indianapolis, and it is to help the Indianapolis area, especially. They do a lot of work with charity and a lot of work with helping out gun violence and things of that nature within the Indianapolis area. So if you guys are in the Indianapolis area, always feel free to come out to a show. And if you're a fan, come up and say what's good. At the last show, myself and Aaron, aka Simply Better AM, there were a couple fans that came up to us, and that shit's always cool, man. So highly recommend y'all come out. It's always a good time. There's 9 great matches coming up on Dreams and Nightmares. Again, that is October 16th, 2022. So if you can't make it out, it'll be up on IWTV. Ultralight Beam should be out by the time you're seeing this on IWTV. So make sure you go and check it out. And, go follow them on social media as well at Naptown All Pro on all social medias. And, I gotta shout out the people. You know what I'm saying? Rocking Naptown all over. If you watching the video form of this podcast, you know, now that I got my plugs out the way, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So basically, to summarize it, because even though he summarized it, still got to summarize it for some folks. He is basically a man of many talents. You got the commentator, and it's ironic. It's like I always laugh because it's like a lot of people who started with commentary. It's like now this generation starts commentary based off of just being on YouTube because people don't understand the grind of YouTube. You have to, because a lot of people assume that you just hit a button and then you just go. Some people have that luxury where they can just go, but real people who actually study this, like for those of you who actually have not had the luxury of having a conversation with Brandon, that man literally is an encyclopedia of YouTube. It is hilarious. So it's like you actually you started from YouTube. So now you actually being an actual commentator. That's why that's why I would say if I ever be a commentator, and people say, how did you start? YouTube.
Yeah. I mean, bro, like I tell everybody every single time, like, for those of you that don't know as well, like, I mean, I was going to wrestling school for 2 years, to be a manager, and like, I don't pride myself in too much, but I pride myself in my wrestling promo ability as well as my commentary ability. And the reason why I got so good at doing that is from doing WWE 2K19 my career, because I was commentating daily videos where it was a match a day for damn near 2 years straight, because 2K19 lasted that long, on top of doing promos in every single one of those videos, to the point where like some of those videos I was just doing promos because people liked it so much. So like I think that I usually equate it to this. A decade ago, you had kids backyard wrestling. These days, like in the next decade, you're gonna see a lot of kids and a lot of commentators, a lot of announcers, a lot of pro wrestlers in the scene and that came from the video games and stuff like that. Because like, back in my day, we used to go outside, but these days, we play video games. So like,
we used to go on a trampoline and wrestle, and we used to drop each other on each other's necks and cry to our mamas because our neck got a little stanger. All right.
Absolutely. But nowadays, like we got like universe mode creators, stuff like that. Like I'll say it right now, like anybody that's ever done universe mode content on a serious level where they put in time after time after show after show after show, like, by all means, like that's commentary experience. Like I genuinely think like Murph's YT13, he'd be an amazing commentator on any show that would have him. I feel like so many of us that came from that universe mode scene or just content creation in general that have had to do commentary would exceed at that, because we know like there's obviously stuff that you have to learn, and there's obviously stuff that like I have greatly gotten some amazing advice from a lot of great commentators that have given me advice and stuff of that nature from doing actual shows now that I didn't know. But for the most part, a lot of that base and a lot of that origin, you really develop from doing this game stuff. Like I really feel that way. I really feel strongly about that. And like, I know that there's kind of a stigma, I think, in a way, like a dumb stigma, like kind of how there was a decade ago about backyard wrestlers and stuff like that in wrestling.
Right.
I kind of feel like I see that nowadays with like I guess the person that always comes to mind is Simon Miller from the UK, that part of like What Culture and all that. I know when he started doing actual wrestling, like a lot of people were kind of like, oh, that's just the What Culture guy. He's getting these opportunities because of this, that, and the third. And it's like, nah, bro, like we've done things also like that's a grind and stuff like that. Like even though we haven't grinded here, we've grinded elsewhere. But as long as you treat the business with respect, I feel like it should be straight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's just my view on it, though.
Oh yeah, because I tell people all the time who ask me like, how do you do this universe mode stuff? Because it's some people who does the universe mode, but then it's like they don't really understand that. Because I respect people who actually have the fortune to have a thumb editor, and all you got to do is just hit record and talk, and then you just move on.
I wish I had that.
People don't realize for the past 12 years that I've been doing YouTube in every way, shape, or form, I was my editor, my writer, my director, my producer. I was the talent. So it's like you were doing all this stuff. And then after a while, and I like how you mentioned universe mode, because I know a lot of people still to this day, they say, hey, when you gonna bring it back?
He's like, hey, I got away from that. I ain't trying to go back there.
I'm not trying to go backwards. Like, come on. Because after a while, like that's why I appreciate having that conversation and the opportunity to talk with Brandon, because he was telling me, he's like, bro, there's so much stuff that you can do as a talent that you need to just go, like, because I was on the fence, like a lot of people who've been following the podcast as long as they have, I had that, his episode came out like earlier this year, like around episode 6. We're close to episode 22, but he actually told me off camera, he was like, bro, there's so much I can see that you can do, like whether even if it's not just as a talent, you can slowly transition into a behind the scenes type cat. And I took that, I was like, okay, because and that's the reason why I kind of just said, you know what, screw the meta of YouTube. I just said, you know, I'm just gonna edit and upload and do what I did. That's why I tapped into the Reddit videos and all that stuff, because I'm like, this is, it's easy to edit. It's easy for me to just be myself, and then to grow my community and get people interested in posting random stuff on Reddit. So I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So that's what I'm doing. But people was afraid, because at one point I did kill my whole YouTube channel. I was like, I'm done with this. So they was like, but I'm keeping it active, so you ain't got to worry about it. But I appreciate that whole experience from Universe Mode, because it helped me learn my editing skills. Because a lot of stuff that I learned that I do now as far as editing, I learned it from doing Universe Mode. And then when 2K20 happened, we all know 2K20. When 2K20 happened, I had no choice but to buckle down on learning and doing, like, okay, I had to flip. And I will never not credit VYBE and you guys enough for not creating that, keeping that game alive as long as you did. So that's why I'm like, buddy,
we tried. there was only so many times you can reinvent the wheel, you know.
before the wheel, just you be like, know what, fuck this.
We need a new, So like bro, the dark times of 2K20 flopping the way that it did, both in terms of how creators could use the game because the highlight reel sucking as bad as it did, on top of just the game being so bad, which I mean, I don't have to tell you anything about that, you know. And then
I quit the whole game.
and then right after 2K20, people, I think this is something that a lot of people forget. Coming off the tails of 2K20, the next game that came out the next year was Battlegrounds. And for what we do, none of us could do Battlegrounds content like that, because like it was so like,
I did one video with my sister
I did one video
and it was like, I think that's not my number one video on my channel still, because it's like, hey, it was just me and her just shitting around. And I think our challenge was we had to eat hot sauce on our chips or some shit. So it was literally just us bullshitting around, and it got the most views and most interactions. So I'm like, damn, and it's like, until someone brings up that, I'm like, damn, that was a game. It's still on my PS4 too. And I'm like, oh shit, that was a game.
Bro, it like coming off of that, so like that was what, like 2 years almost, or like a year and a half, like almost 2 years that
2K20 came out, what, 2019? So
that was
October 2020. So it was like the height of the pandemic, so we didn't really have no choice but to
bro. Yeah, that is true. October 2019 until like March 2020.
So it was literally
insane.
Yeah, like the height of the pandemic, so we didn't have nothing to do.
Absolutely. Like, bro, that's got to be one of the craziest times for like a WWE Games YouTuber ever, because like there was just
because we had to juggle between live streams and reaction videos and stuff like that, and then we had to deal with the copyright changes of YouTube, because that's what a lot of people don't understand. There's a lot of stuff that was changing behind the scenes on YouTube as far as like a creator that a lot of people didn't really catch the heat of. So it was like, it was so much changes going on during the pandemic. So it's like, now we're at that point where we can expand, and we're coming out of it as better creators too. So it's like, it was a double-edged sword. 2K20, it kind of helped me evolve past Universe Mode.
Absolutely,
because I was still doing Universe Mode from 2K15 until 2K19, the original version. And then 2K20 happened, I left, and then shout out PW Mods, 2K19 being modded helped me get back into it. And I created the whole Carnage series that people was just craving about. It was like, yo, this is the best non WWE canon series I've ever seen. I'm like, bro, it's just me just saying screw the stigma and just have fun. And people caught on to it.
Yeah, that, I mean, like I will always say, and like I say it to Aaron and Brandon when we all have like talks about like the dark ages, if you will, like I feel like if we did not go through that, there would not have been we needed to go through that to cause a necessity for us to be willing to change. I feel like because we were so like hell-bent on staying to the status quo that we were doing of just like the My Career videos and stuff, that if we didn't go through what we went through, I don't feel like we would have evolved at the way that we evolved, because like I feel like a lot of people like tend to forget that, like, and I mean, it might sound some type of way, but like VYBE really did hold down the community in terms of like the YouTube side of the community, like the creators on YouTube of like new ideas, new
because even Chris was going to quit.
Because yeah, like I mean, like, and I mean, like it was a bad time for everybody where it was just like there's so much that's not happening. And then I mean, I did the universe video, the first like big sim video with like that, and then Aaron did it, and then Brandon did it, and then after that, everybody Ifan and Jane did it. And so like it was just like, damn, bro, like we really helped the community out on that.
Set that trend. And a lot of people be assuming that I'm just kissing ass when I be giving y'all props. I'm like, no, that's genuinely because, bro, if it wasn't, if I put it this way, I say this every time I get a chance. If I did not join, or if I did not hit you guys up, or if you didn't hit me up to join, to talk with you guys, and then I link with Brandon and so on and so on, I would have been probably just doing my AV, because a lot of people don't understand. I incorporate my AV experience into what I do on YouTube. So I know the behind the scenes. I could have been doing my AV stuff, and I probably, like, someone say, hey, can you edit this video for YouTube? I'm like, oh yeah, sure, for this amount. So it's like, if it wasn't for you guys, and if it wasn't for my actual community, I would have been like done. I would have been done. And shout out to shout out to one of my childhood friends, Derek Myers Jr. He kept pushing. He's like, bro, you got the talent, just keep going. I'm like, bro. So people don't understand. Like you have moments where you just be like, fuck this. Do I really want to do this? Do I really want to continue to do this? I've been doing this for so long. And then you have some people who be like, oh, so you're just riding the coattails, because I already know you've had that experience. Like, oh, you're riding the coattails of this person. No, that means no, I'm not.
That in terms of that's always like, it's something that really irks me a lot. But at the same time, it just comes with the nature of the territory. Because like, because specifically what we're talking about, for those of you that don't know, like as of late, I've been getting a lot of comments that are like, because VYBE's obviously taking a break for the past 6 months because we've all been super busy. I've been getting a lot of comments as of late on my channel when I came back last month. I was like, oh, you need a Brandon to do all this. You need a Brandon to do. I'm like, bro, we all got here by doing the same shit. It's like, I mean, I will never, and I mean ever, not thank Brandon enough for giving me the spotlight to get here. But make no mistake about it, I still busted my ass to take that spotlight and make the absolute most of it, because I could have done something that, like, I know there was a big trending topic in gaming Twitter like a month ago-ish nearly, that dealt with 100 Thieves, where like a content creator that joined 100 Thieves and then left, they kind of squandered the opportunity a little bit. I did not do that. Whenever Brandon extended the offer to me to move into a group house, I made the most of it. I uploaded every single day for nearly a year straight. I did daily content that much. I picked his brain as much as I could in that first house that we lived in, of just figuring everything out that he knew at that time, learning how he worked, and then incorporating it into my own stuff. Like, I figured out everything that I needed to figure out, and we were working so cohesively and everything like that. And I will never squander what Brandon did for me in that regard of giving me the platform to then expand my audience and like exposing me to 2K and stuff like that. And then now getting opportunities to work with 2K, like getting the opportunity where me, Brandon, and Aaron were the first 3 people in the world, like creator wise, to play WWE 2K22 when we got flown out to California in January. Like, opportunities like that I never thought would happen is definitely because of Brandon. But on the same token of the dime, let's make no mistake about it. Like, you could give that opportunity to 100 different people and 97 of them will fail. 97 of them will not succeed, because you still, at the end of the day, have to put in the work. You still, at the end of the day, have to be responsible for your own stuff. You, at the end of the day, still need to grind. And I've said that for a minute. Like, I always get asked the question, like, what do you have in terms of advice for new YouTubers and things of that nature? My biggest advice is always consistency. And I always say this as well, like, consistency does not mean daily content. Consistency does not mean weekly content. Consistency does not mean every other day content. Consistency doesn't even mean monthly content. Whatever your consistency is, what you can be consistent with, that is consistency. And you need to keep that schedule, because that is how you're going to grow. You got to continue to be consistent, continue to keep grinding. And I feel like some people just don't want to grind, but at the same time, it's like, man, I went all in on this shit. Like, I 100% went all in on this shit. They
want that overnight success. Basically.
Yeah. And it ain't like that. Like, you got to put in the years, and I'm not even where I want to be still. Like, I got the 100K plaque for VYBE, but trust me, I want a second one right there, crooked the other way. You know what I'm saying? Like, it needs to go the other way. Like, it need to be doing the young buck pose. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I want one for my channel. And I mean, I make no excuses. Like, the past 6 months, I've been like not active on my channel 100%, because like I've been doing my own thing IRL and trying to build up my IRL stuff, like with doing commentary and things of that nature. And I've just been super busy. But in terms of being able to get to the point where I feel like after grinding for 4 or 5 years straight, I feel like I deserve that little break. You know what I'm saying? So like, it's one of those things where it's a catch-22, because I came up and I got a spotlight because I was in a group. So no matter what, people are always like the little kids and the trolls. And the thing that I got to remind myself is that the majority of our audience are children. And that's not me coming at anybody, because there are other people in our audience that are not children. But for the majority of our audience, because we do professional wrestling, video game stuff, our audience, like the numbers that we have for it, and I'm sure like everybody in the wrestling scene pretty much primarily is a children-based audience. And like, kids are trolls, man. Like, I was a dickhead when I was a kid. Like, I know what I know how I used to be when I used to troll people. That's just all it is. And like, it's hard to, you should not give attention to it. And I
was in the E-Fed a few times. That was just trolling. So
me too. You know what I'm saying? Like, that like, trust me, I'm right there with you, bro. Like, it's just crazy that like, it's crazy that people try to demean your shit a little bit because of it. But it's like, at the end of the day, it's just trolling. That's all it is. But I always say that shit whenever I get asked about it, because it's like, I will never, ever discredit what Brandon did for me. But at the same time, I am my own creator. Aaron, Simply Better AM, is his own creator. Brandon is his own creator. X3 is his own creator. We are all, Deontay DDJ is his own creator. Muscle Man Malcolm is his own creator. We are all our own creators. We all bring something different to the table. And I feel like a lot of people kind of discredit that whenever you're in a group scenario. But at the end of the day, I know what I bring to the table. I know, like, I'm the reason why the universe shit popped off. Like, I started that shit. I know that, like, I'm the reason why, like, there's a lot of different ideas that like got started because of me that I like came up with. So like, it don't really bug me at the end of the day. It's just in the moment where like you see it, you're like, man, fuck you. But I mean, that's just human nature. Like,
that basically proves that we're human. Basically, we're not robots. We don't just push out content out of our ass just to just to have it. It's like, it takes time. And hey, and then sometimes you have to remind them, like, yo, it's worth the wait. Because I know I follow a lot of content creators who do like summary reviews, which I'm probably going to start back tapping into, because I used to do that, but now I'm tap back into it under the Freepedia brand that me and my boy Highlight Reel is going to pretty much relaunch real soon. Because we relaunched it at the end of last year, and we've been it's another thing. We both been busy because a lot of people was like, what happened to the streams? What happened to the reviews that you was going to do and all the retro reviews you're going to do? Because we're going to probably do like a review of like Good Burger or some shit. So because just because, and it was like, bro, he's doing his thing as an artist. I'm doing my thing as a podcaster, producer, YouTuber, gamer. So it's like, we gotta kind of find. But then me and him I told him we'll eventually get back together and really do some shit. And I told him straight up, like, if I ever need a collab partner for YouTube, he just hop on Discord and he'll just hop on in and we'll just make it into a video. So it happens when you're starting a group, because and we're eventually going to grow that group into something bigger. That's our goal. So it's like, you gotta do that. And then at the end of the day, you just gotta remind people, hey, it's gonna get there. It's gonna get there, because I know it's a few creators that I know, they probably upload every 6-7 months, and it'd be like an hour-long video.
It's always quality over quantity, in my opinion. Like, especially, and like, this is how I also take that. I feel like once you get to a certain level, you're able to do that. Like, I feel like once it also all depends on like what you want to get out of YouTube. Like, I'm to the point now where, like, and I've said this to Aaron, I've said this to Brandon, like, in terms of my solo channel, I love my solo channel. Do not get it twisted. However, I know that there's more for the VYBE channel. I want to make VYBE the United States version of the Sidemen. That's where my vision is with that. I want to make VYBE the biggest thing it can be. And my whole focus is on VYBE in terms of YouTube. My whole vision, my whole focus, all that, because that's where I get the most fun. I love doing collab content with the guys whenever we film. I enjoy doing solo content, but like at the same time, it's always good vibes, no pun intended, whenever like it's the group that are like coming together and making stuff together, because it's always more fun when you're with your boys kicking it than when you're just by yourself staring into a camera, clicking the fucking game controller like, oh, I can't wait to do WB2K22 showcase for the 12th time. Like,
or in my case, universe mode, where I had to play the game, record it, edit it, and pretend to not know what's going to happen, even though I knew what was going to happen. Like, that takes a toll after a while. You're like, bro, I can only fake it till I make it for so long, because it's like, oh, I didn't know he was going to hit the DDT. Yes, I did. I edited like 3 different angles, but okay. So when you collab, it's like you don't really think. It's like you just do whatever, and then you just flow with it. It's less of a hassle. You just kicking it. You on the couch or in gaming chairs, and you just record. You may catch the audio if you are high production, even though I recommend everybody do high production in your audio. Like, audio is your friend. Make sure you're not smacking and eating food, because I don't know if I probably didn't tell you, but it was a few times where I had to produce with some people, and this lady forgot her whole presentation was being recorded, so she would take a drink mid-drink, and all you heard was, and then you heard a small burp. I snatched my headphones off. I said, if I ever hear this on audio, I'm turning this entire shit off, because I do not want to hear that.
That's the thing I tell everybody whenever like newer YouTubers and stuff like that, when they ask me like, yo, what do I need to improve first on? I'm like, your audio quality. Like, that, in my opinion, audio quality comes before video quality. Video quality can always be saved for like secondary, but audio quality is what you're going to hear 99.99% of the time. And I mean, at the same time though, to newer people that are wanting to maybe get into content that are listening to this, don't take that as a detriment though, to like, oh, well then I can't start YouTube until I get the right equipment. Nah, fuck that. I started on a Turtle Beach headset. And that is the first thing that I started on. And I grinded with a Turtle Beach headset every single day, doing 3 videos a day. When I started doing, like, when I took content
that's
seriously,
my first mic. That's my first mic. Right,
I'm saying, I wish I kept that headset so bad. That's one of my biggest regrets, was not keeping that first headset. But when I started my, like, officially, like, okay, I want to make this a job, I want to make this a career, when WB2K19 dropped, I was dropping 3 videos a day until from the day the game came out, which was like October something, 2018, until January 1st, 2019. I was dropping 3 videos a day daily. And because I was like, I'm gonna get partnered, I'm gonna get to the point where I can monetize these videos. And I'll never forget it. I get monetized December, like the 1st or 2nd week of December. The fucking new moves pack comes out for WB2K19. I'm on Xbox One at the time. I remember that if you set your shit to Australia, you can download it faster, or New Zealand, whichever one. Aussie, oi, oi, shout out to Murphs. You can download it quicker. So I downloaded the new moves pack. I was the first person to drop that video showing all the new moves, and that video blew up. it blew up to the point, especially because it's December with the good CPM, that when I got that check, I was able to then purchase all of my, like the mic that I'm still using to this day. This is bought off of the new moves pack from WWE 2K19. So I bought that immediately. That was the first thing that I did, and I have not regretted it since. And then like just recently, actually, right before WWE 2K22 came out, that's when I got the Canon EOS. I think this is the Canon EOS 5 or the Mark II or something like that.
Okay.
Because of my boy King Christian.
Shout out to King Christian. I haven't heard from him in a minute. Shout out to him.
I will say this until the end of times. King Christian, without a shadow of a damn doubt, is one of the most creative people I have ever met in my life. He is one of the coolest people I've ever met in my life, and he is absolutely the number. If that dude ever dropped content, he would be the number one person on YouTube, I think, 100%, especially in the WWE games community. He would take over immediately with his ideas, his creativity, and his editing ability. That dude is amazing. And like, one of my best friends, absolutely one of my best friends. Much love to King Christian.
Sending him well wishes, because I was like, man, what happened to King Christian? That was just me. I'm like, man, yeah, whatever's going on, hopefully wishing you the best, brother. Because the content that I actually saw of him when before his break, I was like, yo, this dude can go.
He's one of the most talented people I've ever had the opportunity to meet in my life, and one of my best friends. He if you guys ever see me talk about Jug or anything like that, that is a group of people of myself, J Rose, X3, Abdullah or Shavimbu. We talk all the time. We watch wrestling all the time together. King Christian as well. I feel like I said that, but at the same time I didn't. There we go. And my closest friends to this day, like I talk to them every single day. They've been there for me so many times over the past couple of years. Like, without a doubt, my closest friends. I love all of them so much. And this past January, actually, we all got to meet up and hang out for the first time in New York. Sweet. Because we went to the GCW show at the Hammerstein Ballroom. And I don't know if y'all can tell if you're watching the video podcast, but I'm a very big ECW fan. You know, I don't know if you could tell by any means. I don't know what would give it away, but I love ECW. So to be in the Hammerstein Ballroom was always like a dream. So the first time a wrestling show had been in the Hammerstein Ballroom in years, I was like, yeah, fuck that shit, I'm going. Didn't give a fuck, really, to be honest, about anything that was happening on the card, other than like being able to see Jeff Jarrett live was pretty cool.
I think that's the only match I remember in
Moxley and Homicide live was really, really cool. X-Pac came out to fucking Run DMC version of the DX theme, which was sick. That shit was so sweet, man. But the experience for me was getting to hang with Abdullah, Chris, X, and J Rose all in person, sharing a tiny ass New York fucking hotel room where we were 3 deep on a bed, bro. One of the funniest pictures that we have is myself, Abdullah, and X, all 3 in one bed, because there was only 2 beds, and we all big boys, bro. So like, you just see us fucking sardined in that bitch, like trying to make it work.
But shout out to my boy BK, because when we was in Nashville, it was me, my boy Daryl, and my boy and Highlight, and it was only 2 beds. And Daryl, he was like, I got a sleeping bag. My boy BK said, nah, bro, here's a cot. He got his whole setup. So he hooked us up. So yeah, we know what that's like. Well, you be like, absolutely, we ain't trying to break the bank for rooms per person. It's like, bro, just sleep on the floor or sleep on the bed, and we just make it work.
Absolutely. Hey, that's the wrestling way, bro. That's the wrestling way.
You get a pizza and a handshake and call it a day.
Shit, you get a pizza, that's crazy. Where I come from, that's fucking a glizzy and a handshake. You know what I'm saying? And you be lucky to get that. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes
you'll be lucky to get a glizzy. You may get a handshake. You may get a handshake. If
the handshake
if the promoter ain't busy. So then you just get well wishes and good luck.
Yeah, that's something last year. Because last year was the year that I really I did commentary, and I believe 4 or 5 different states. I believe it was 5. I kind of don't count the 5th one because it was like on the border, and I kind of was like, it's still the 4th state. Like it's not really the 5th state, but like I did commentary in 4 different states last year, like making towns and shit, and like being being in locker rooms and shit like that, and like experiencing that a lot was very, very fun and like very interesting to like see, just because like I say it all the time, like I've never cared about really anything in life other than wrestling, like in terms of entertainment wise or like sports or anything like that. Like wrestling has been my life. So like finally getting to be a part of it and stuff like that has always been great. And especially like coming off, like that was when I was going to wrestling school and all that before the school shut down for some bullshit. But
we know that bullshit.
Oh no!
Not that one. Oh, it's another one. Okay,
that was the first time.
Oh, okay.
See, the second time was after that happened, and then it reopened, and it reopened into new people. But the owner of the shit was still kind of a dickhead. So
okay.
You know,
I was about to say, wait a minute, hold on. I was about to say,
the shout out though to the Believe Wrestling Academy when it was open, because my head trainer Ace Austin, Bullet Club member, a former like 3-time X Division champion, one of the coolest dudes, man. Shout out also to Gia Miller. She absolutely has helped me out so much with like my promos and things of that nature. Big love to Nate Wings, as well as the Rev Ron Hunt, as well as absolutely, man, absolutely, as well as Crash Jackson. Shout out to pretty much everybody, man, from that.
Shout out to Crash too, because I met him in Nashville, and I shook his hand. I'm like, bro, you was big as fuck.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. That those dudes though, like that whole crew that we had at the Believe Wrestling Academy was so sick, man. That was a great time of my life last year. I went back in, what pay-per-view was it? I believe Extreme Rules last year was in March, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, that one Extreme Rules show where it was literally one Extreme Rules match and everything else was pretty much whatever.
I think so. It was Roman Reigns versus
Finn Balor broke the top rope with his penis.
Oh no. It wasn't Extreme Rules then. It was Roman Reigns versus Danielson, maybe. I don't remember, but whatever.
Was that WrestleMania?
Nah, it wasn't Mania. It was. I think it might have been the show before Mania.
Because oh wait, they didn't have people in that one, because that was WrestleMania that
year.
No,
yeah. It was pandemic.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
so,
it was before.
Oh, Elimination Chamber, Fastlane, one of them.
Maybe Fastlane.
One of them C-level shows.
Yeah. So like, I went over to Crash's house to watch Fastlane, and while I was there, I was just like, man, fuck it. I'm not doing anything right now, like too crazy. I have the money to go to wrestling school again. I should just go back, because I fucking that one of my favorite times, man, of my life is just going to wrestling school and just bumping and like fucking like learning and things. Yeah. And like studying the craft and all that shit. And it got to the point where like, after I went back, because I was very skeptical, obviously, of what happened the first time, and I ain't gonna talk about that shit here.
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
But when I went back the second time, I was like, fuck it, man, let's run this shit. Like, when meeting Ace was awesome. Ace, such a good dude. Once again, Gia Miller, she's amazing as well. They helped me out so much with my promo ability, because like the issue that I ran into with promos and like actual wrestling like scenarios and shit was, because I came from YouTube, like I'm amazing at just going off the top. I'm amazing at just fucking going and going and going. But because I got to go for 10 minutes to get that ad revenue before they updated to 8 minutes, my ass goes for too long. So they were like, yo, you got a lot of good content here. Just cut it. A minute 30, please. And I was like, all right. So like, they really like Gia Miller really helped me like zone in on how to like get to the point and how to go after that, with a lot of the stuff that she would teach us from like theater experience and stuff like that. I can never put enough words how much Ace Austin and Gia Miller really did for me with all that type of stuff. And then in terms of like in-ring stuff, like, bro, like I wish I would have had some of the practice matches that I had recorded. Because for those of you that don't know, I went to wrestling school to be a manager. as well as commentary, because I broke my neck when I was in high school and I never got it healed. So like it healed like funky. So like if I pop my neck, sometimes like my arms go numb, and I don't want to be in the middle of a match, my neck pop, and then I drop somebody on their head. Like I don't want to do that.
Right.
But also like sometimes if I pop my neck, my eyes go out. Like in the first Vibe house when we were going to the gym all the time, I popped my neck and I couldn't see. Like the guys didn't realize it was like that. And then I finally had to explain, like, yeah, bro, my neck pops sometimes and like it could be over at any point. Like it could be over. Like it's crazy. My neck is awful. But so I was going for like do managing and stuff like that. But like we'd have practice matches a lot, and there would always seem to be like an odd number of people. But I love chain wrestling a lot. Chain wrestling is my favorite shit about, like, it's one of my favorite things because like to me, it's literally a game of chess and pro wrestling, of like moving from hold to hold and seeing how you can go. I was a big fan of the World of Sport style, the UK style of just like moving and movement of like holds and things of that nature. So I love chain wrestling. So anytime there would be an odd number of people, it became a thing where like when Nate Wings was holding practice, it would always seem to come up where like somebody didn't have like a person. So somebody would get in the ring and then we would just like kind of like look around for a second, like, well, everybody else has already went. And I'd be like, fuck it. So I would just slide in the ring and then they'd be like, are you sure? And I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. Like it's fine, it's cool. And like that always was like one of my favorite things. Shout out to Damian Chambers. He recently done some stuff on AEW Dark. Me and him had a banging ass practice match once where we went through a table, which was not a table, but it was like a mattress that we set up in the corner for like a crash pad, and fucking yeah, it was awesome. But like doing that type of shit, man, last year was so fun. I don't mind talking about this, like on shit. So around August of last year, myself, Ben Myers, he's now doing things, I believe, under the name The Pledge, alongside of Alpha Sigma Sigma with Brent Oakley. And Casey Jacobs, my boys, Alpha Sigma Sigma. Look them up if you don't. They do great work over at this company called Future Great Wrestling, up in the Columbus area. No, not Columbus. It's somewhere up in Ohio. Fairborn, maybe. I don't know. Somewhere like that. It's Cody Hawk. For those of you that may know who Cody Hawk is, he trained John Moxley. He has like a lot of people under his stuff. It's the company that he runs and helps like book and stuff like that. They've done a lot of great work there. But myself and Ben were going to this place called the Sanctuary, which is in Pennsylvania. It was like a 7-hour drive. We were coming back from the Sanctuary, myself, Ben, Gia Miller, and Ace Austin, and me and Ben were like so juiced up because Ben finally had his first match in front of people, and we were so juiced, we were so gung-ho. And then we get to school that Monday, and Ace and Gia come in, and they look just like kind of deflated, and we're just like, oh no, like what happened? And they were like, hey, yeah, school's kind of over. And we're just like, huh? Like a record scratch. Like we were so stoked. Like we were like, fuck yeah, bro, we're about to start going even more. We're about to like just go on these extra days because there was a hole in the fucking wall and we knew how to pop the door open and just sneak in. So like we were like, yeah, bro, it was crazy. So like we were like, fuck yeah, we were about to just start going and fucking just trying a bunch of cool shit, a bunch of new shit. And then Ace was like, yeah, man, we're sorry, but like the owner of the actual shit like kind of fucked on us and like just didn't tell any of us, and then kind of projected it onto Ace and Gia to like tell us. So like it was kind of a fuck situation. So like the owner is kind of a dickhead, but you know, it is what it is. But with that said, absolutely one of my favorite experiences of my life, man. Going to wrestling school is so like, I wish wrestling school was still around here. I'd still be going to this day if it was.
I know they have one in here in Atlanta ran by AR Fox.
Absolute, bro. Fucking shout out to WW4A, bro. When I was like 17, or no, I was 16, 17. My mom took me up there. My mom took me like up near that area, and I got to meet AR Fox and stuff like that. And great dude. AR Fox, man. In my opinion, in the last decade, AR Fox should have made millions of dollars in pro wrestling, because AR Fox is one of the best underrated wrestlers in the last decade. There's so much shit that he does that nobody else can do, and like just his way of moving and like the way he does shit is so different than everybody else.
I still remember his run in Lucha Underground. So
absolutely,
and that show's been off. So it's like, bro, that lets you know.
But now, like, his legacy, I feel, in wrestling is going to be the fact that he has now trained so many heaters that have come out of his school. And I'm gonna say this, like, I don't fuck with Theory, but at the same time, that motherfucker trained Theory. So, like, you know,
he can go.
He was at WrestleMania. He can go. He can go somewhere he can go somewhere else. He can go in the ring, kind of, but he can also take his candy ass somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Like, he can get the fuck out. But at the same time, you gotta give Fox the credit where credit is due there. Like, he trained him. And like, there's so many other people that have come from the WW4A school that are just absolute killers, bro, in terms of in-ring, in terms of just absolutely, like, just he's trained some of the best people to come out of that area. It's amazing to see. And I definitely feel like that's going to be his legacy.
So people be trying to figure out why I be calling Theory the McDonough kid, because they say he's from Atlanta. He's from McDonough, Georgia. So that nigga ain't that man is not from Atlanta. You can't claim Atlanta if you ain't.
That's why I never say I'm from Atlanta, bro. If you ain't from a zone, you can't say it.
No. Just say you from McDonald's, bro. I'd be like, McDonald's.
Like, bro, I grew up in Augusta, but like I was always bouncing around in Georgia. So like I grew up in Augusta. I lived in Columbus for a little bit. So like I've been all around that shit. But like people seeing a lot of people cap that they're from Atlanta is always funny as fuck to me. Because like,
I'm from Atlanta. No, you from Douglasville. You're from Douglas County, Georgia. What are you talking about?
Because I'll always say that, like, I'm from like an hour out. Like, I'm never too far from it.
You're from the greater, or what AEW called Duluth when they came here, the greater Atlanta area.
Yeah. Like, shut the hell up, bro. Like, what are you talking about, bro?
When I saw that show, I'm like, bro, no.
Like, oh, like what are we talking about here? Hey, speaking of people out in like the Atlanta area right now, gotta give a big shout out to my dude Darian Bankston, bro. Like, I absolutely believe, and he also, if you tune into IWTV and check out that Naptown All Pro show called Ultra Light Beam, he is on that show. He goes one-on-one with Adrian Noctis. Darian Bankston, without a doubt, is one of the best and brightest stars on the independent scene right now. Can't recommend Darian Bankston enough. He's part of the Nightmare Factory and stuff like that. He started in the UK, came over to the US, absolutely killing it. That dude, man. And I finally got to meet him in person at that last Nap show. Great guy, man. Great guy. Much love to Darian Bankston. One of my favorites to watch right now. He hits the Tiger Driver 9X. It's so crazy. It's so cool. Much love to Darian Bankston.
And if you guys haven't joined IWTV, it is independent wrestling.tv, and it's literally $10 a month to join. If you want to do an annual subscription, you can do $100 and you can save up to $20 and you can cancel anytime. And for those of you who probably like, how do you know that? I literally just Googled
it. Hey, I'll tell you this too. If you spend $9.99 right now to watch, if you spent $9.99 on the old WWE network, right? Because we ain't got the network no more. We got the
Peacock.
But if you if you love professional wrestling, drop that $9.99 subscription on IWTV. They have live shows all the time. Not only can you watch Naptown All Pro, you can watch shows like West Coast Pro. You can watch shows like Prestige Wrestling. You can watch shows like ICW No Holds Barred. You can watch great like old shit that they got. Like they got old tapes of like Chikara. They got old tapes of CZW up there. They got a banging ass shoot with Brody Lee that's up there. And, you know, and they also got Naptown All Pro. You know what I'm saying? You can hear me,
yes, sir.
You know, narrate some violence as the narrator of violence. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep getting them cheap plugs in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, cheap plug. Yep. And
I wait real quick too. I'd also be remiss if I wouldn't say from the Georgia area. Big shout out to AC Mack as well, currently the independent wrestling world champion. And I'm not just saying this because he's going one-on-one with Hoodfoot at the next Naptown All Pro on October.
Shout out Hoodfoot.
You know, Hoodfoot's the man, bro. I've
seen some of his work, so that's why I'm like, that's
love Hoodfoot.
Motherfucker is a beast,
bro. when I met Hoodfoot for the first time, it's when I went out to Indianapolis right before I went to Nashville, and I signed my name on the dotted line for Naptown, and that was the same day that we filmed some stuff for Hoodfoot's promo before he went to the Scenic City Invitational. And seeing Hoodfoot cut a promo live, like that energy, that vibe that he has, man, just Hoodfoot go crazy, bro. I love Hoodfoot. Absolutely one of my favorites, man, to watch right now as well. Crazy in the deathmatch scene, but make no mistake about it, Hoodfoot absolutely can go with the best of them. And on October 16th at Dreams and Nightmares presented by Naptown All Pro, he's going to prove that when he puts on for the city of Indianapolis and goes to try to win that Indian Independent World Wrestling Championship against AC Mack. It's going to be a banging match, man. I can't wait to see it.
I'm gonna have to check it out. If I'm not, if I'm on the road, even if I'm on the road, I'm probably sure, hopefully I got good internet where I'm gonna be at. I'm gonna pull it up. So you already know. Cause I think I'm gonna be off the road before the week before my birthday or the week of my birthday.
Absolutely. Hey man, like I mean, not just because I'm a part of the team, not just because like I'm on the committee of Naptown All Pro, but like from a genuine place in my heart, man, like that's absolutely the biggest thing that like I'm focused on now aside from VYBE is Naptown All Pro. Like I want to promote their vision. I want to promote their product to as many people as I can because I believe in their product. I believe in their vision. J-Rose, absolutely one of my best friends, as well now as Chase Holiday, Sean Kemp. The founding fathers, if you will, the starting five, if you will, of Naptown All Pro was J-Rose, Chase Holiday, Sean Kemp, Hoodfoot, as well as Calvin Tankman. So
yes, sir.
That's a crazy five right there, man. Oof. That's a crazy five. That's so much talent in five people. Like they have such a great vision for professional wrestling, and that Naptown All Pro Dreams and Nightmares show that's coming up on October 16th is an absolute banging showcase of that. Because like, just to run down real quick the card, you got Rico Gonzalez versus Sonico, which is going to be a banging ass match, man. I can't wait to see Sonico live for the first time, as well as Rico Gonzalez. You got Thick and Juicy 2.0, which is Brooke Valentine and Willow Nightingale, which some of you may know Willow now. Absolutely. Some of you may know Willow now from AEW, as well as a ton of independent wrestling. Thick and Juicy 2.0 will be going up against Sean Kemp and Chase Holiday. That's going to be a crazy match right there. We got Isaiah Broner going one-on-one with Myron Reed. That's going to be a banger. You got the Delinquents, which of course is Mikey Banker, Josh Fuller, and Jet Jagori going up against Kai Faden and two mystery partners. And we love a good mystery, you know what I'm saying? You also got a crazy, with this match is going to be crazy because like there's no doubt in my mind that Josh Crane and MV Young are going to do banana things against one another. I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm going to have to cover up it sometimes. I don't want to get hit with nothing. You know what I'm saying? But they're going to go out there and they're going to put on a banger. You got Jocelyn Navarro going up against Sandra Moon. Sandra Moon for probably the past year and a half has been one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. It's going to be really, really fun to call a Sandra Moon match. However, I'm going to say it like this. Jocelyn Navarro, in my opinion, one of the most underrated wrestlers right now in the independent wrestling scene. I think Jocelyn Navarro is somebody that everybody in pro wrestling should be talking about right now. We also got another big championship match happening on this card at Naptown All Pro Dreams and Nightmares. That, of course, is the Black Wrestlers Matters Championship, where JDX, and the D stands for hopefully defenses on this show, defends against D-Rogue and Trey Shaw. Now, some of you, if you guys are unfamiliar with names of pro wrestlers, you might have seen Trey Shaw recently because he's the man to be putting the Popeyes biscuit in the mouth of his opponents and chokes them out.
He's trying to choke him out for real.
You know what I'm saying? No Bev. No Bev. That's going to be a banging triple threat match. And then last but not least, certainly not least, we got Canyon Cavern versus Lazarus. That's going to be a crazy match. Been a big fan of Lazarus for quite some time as well. Can't wait to see that. And if you're in the Indianapolis, Indiana area and you got your ticket to the VI pre-show, there's going to be a costume battle royale. And that's going to be crazy. I mean, you know, I got to think of what I'm aware to that show. I got my new Dudley Boys ECW jersey. I might have to rock a Bully Ray, a little Bubba Ray fit, if I will. Maybe put a little tape on the glasses, punch out the little lenses. But that's me on my advertising ish, if you will, for Naps on All Pro. I got to rock for the brand. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's a perfect little transition to our Q&A session to kind of get to know the guests a little bit more better. So this is where I list a whole bunch of things, and you just give me a nice little response to it. So
we doing like hot fire, like rapid fire, like quick answers, or you want me to go in depth?
I gave up on that speed round hot fire stuff because every time I say speed round, it always goes for a minute. So I just said, we're going to just go right back to the the Q&A, if you will. So first up, I want you to list 10 of your favorite wrestlers, past or present, that is not exclusive. Like, it don't have to be exclusive to WWE. So
my number one favorite wrestler of all time is Chris Hero or Cassius Ohno. All time, like over The Rock, over Stone Cold, over Ric Flair, over Shawn Michaels. Chris Hero by far is my number one favorite wrestler, and meeting him, attending a seminar from him firstly, and then getting to meet him last year was one of the dopest moments of my life. Like, no bullshit. And then meeting him again at Deadlock's show a couple months ago, and like, because obviously I go early and help out and all that stuff, and like going up to him and him being like, Phoenix, I was like,
huh?
That's crazy. Like, that's wild. Like, that's crazy. So much love to Chris Hero. Let's see, 10. So Chris Hero, Dakota Kai, another one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. I think Dakota Kai is 100% in my top 5 of all time. There's just an intangible quality about Dakota Kai that I cannot explain. I've loved Dakota Kai since her work as Evie on the Independents. She can be a great baby face. She can be a great heel. She can promo. She can do any style that she wants. She's amazing. Love Dakota Kai. Let's see. You gave me 10. I'll say Chris Jericho. I don't know, because even like his AEW shit, like some shit I don't like. But then again, he also be doing death matches with Nick Gage randomly, and like barbed wire death matches with Eddie Kingston. Eddie Kingston, 4th.
Oh yeah, of course.
Gonna be on here. These are in no certain order other than Chris Hero. Let's see. Sweet and Sour Larry Sweeney is a name that I feel like a lot of people may not know from like the current wrestling generation, but please look up Larry Sweeney's work. Sadly, he passed away nearly over a decade ago. However, he should have made millions of dollars in pro wrestling. He's 100% one of the people that I base my promos off of. He's one of the people that I take inspirations for from a manager point of view, but he was also a phenomenal wrestler. Another person like I'm really high on right now is Daniel Garcia. Okay. I'm really big on Cora Jade. Something like personally with me with wrestling is I love finding a new wrestling talent within the first like 2, 3, 4 months of their career, and I love watching them grow. Like something I do every year, and I've done this for the past 6 or 7 years, is I'll take like maybe 5 or 10 people at the beginning of the year, and I make sure I go out of my way to watch every match that I can of them that is like filmed and like put up of them that year. Somebody like one of the names that I have on my list this year is Sky Blue. I feel like Sky Blue is gonna like with more experience is gonna become one of probably the best wrestlers like on the AEW roster in terms of the women's wrestling. I think that she's gonna grow to be a phenomenal wrestler. I like watching people develop, I guess is the best way to put it. Another person on that list of top 10, I think all time, I'd probably have to say Owen Hart. I think Owen Hart's amazing. I'm a very big Nick Bockwinkel fan. Like when in terms of like older wrestling, I got really big into watching a lot of old AWA whenever I was like 13, 14, because I think like not the rise and fall, but like the legacy of AWA DVD came out around then. So then I went online and I bootlegged so many AWA shows and just watched a lot of that old shit. So like Nick Bockwinkel is a big influence and like one of my favorites to watch from like that older times. I'm really big on Rob Van Dam, really big on Steve Corino. I feel like it doesn't get enough love from people. In terms of like current WWE, I'd probably say like my favorite act going right now in WWE is probably like Kevin Owens. Kevin Steen is for those of you that don't know, I have a child, Kyler, and Kyler's name actually his mom and I's favorite wrestlers at the time, kind of like we morphed them into one name. So at the like Kevin Steen is where the K in his name comes from, and then the Eiler comes from one of her favorites at that time, Tyler Breeze. So we kind of just mixed the two, and it became Kyler. And if it was going to be a girl, it was going to be Kaylee because she liked Bailey, and then I like Kevin Owens. So you're just going to mix the two like that.
Kaylee Ray.
So it's also very funny about the Kevin Owens thing because he won the Universal Championship on my birthday, and
Sweet.
Dakota Kai had the fucking chance to win the tag titles on my birthday this past year on Raw, but then they freaked it. Triple H freaked it for the first time in his booking career, and they
ended up putting it back on her anyway. So it was like you could have
you
could have just did it day one.
I get it, but like, fuck, man, like y'all should just did on my birthday, man. Like Triple H did that out of spite to me. I feel. I'm trying to like top 10's always really hard for me to do off the top of my head because like I consume so much wrestling that like I feel like it always changes. Other than Chris Hero, Dakota Kai, Eddie Kingston, like those are always like people that I go to first. Oh, I would be remiss if I did not mention probably one of my favorites people in wrestling that I've seen in the past 5-6 years, Lee Moriarty. Shout out to Tiger Style, man. All caps when you say the man's name. Fucking Lee Moriarty.
That man dyed his hair green and went crazy.
Bro, Lee is one of the coolest people I think I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. He's so fucking cool, and I'm so happy that he's finally getting like properly used on AEW television. I can't wait to see him versus Daniel Garcia for the Ring of Honor Pure title. And like I mentioned earlier, Darian Bankston, if you do not know the name, please seek out Darian Bankston. Darian Bankston is so fucking good. And that's another talent where like I love watching talent when they're like not like when they're new, also not so new, but like still in the first couple years of their career, because I know when they get a decade under their belt, they're going to be one of the best in the world. And even before them, more than likely. But
wrestling is backwards. It's like you can consume so much early on, but you never get better until you get older.
Yeah, because like
Dustin Rhodes is a prime example for me. He was always good, but it seems like now he's better than what he was 20 years ago.
It's one of those things in wrestling where it's I feel like I tweeted it today where it's like there's nothing like it in like anything, because I genuinely feel the psychology aspect of it, because when you're in your early stages of pro wrestling, and I don't feel like I'm speaking too out of my wheelhouse with this. In your early stages of pro wrestling, you're more so focused on the moves. You're more so focused on, and not just like, oh, I want to do a flip. Like, I'm not talking like that. Like, I don't give a fuck about that. What I mean so is, oh, I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to do this. I don't want to fuck this up. I don't want to fuck this up. You're thinking more about the moves and things of that nature. And then when you get maybe a year, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 under your belt, you don't think more about that. And you more so start listening to the crowd. And you more so start thinking about the reaction. You more so start thinking about the psychology. You more so start thinking about the story. And that's when that bell clicks on people and when that light pops up above their head, tune style, that's when people start really, really getting to that point. And some people figure it out way sooner than other people, and that's why they have prodigies. Also, another person I'll put on that list real quick, if you don't know who Billy Starks is a 17-year-old, I believe she's 17 now. I believe so, yeah. She's been wrestling, I believe, since she was like 15, if not 14. Wow. She is probably one of the biggest like prodigies of pro wrestling I think I've ever seen. That kid goes crazy in the ring. Billy Starks absolutely in a league of her own in that sense. She reminds me a lot of, I like always equate her to like kind of like Millie McKenzie in the UK scene. She kind of did the similar thing where she started really young in the UK scene, and then she became like super good at a super young age. She recently got signed to WWE NXT UK. I believe they like when they cut the NXT UK roster, I believe she was sadly one of those that got cut. I believe her name was Amelia McKenzie in WWE. She's also super talented, but like Billy reminds me a lot of that.
They'll probably bring her back when it becomes Europe. I believe it's gonna be NXT Europe or some shit.
Yeah, Billy Starks is definitely somebody also I think is like somebody to look out for in the coming years because she's only going to improve with age and she's already so talented. Like her match at Pro Wrestling Revolver against Ruby Soho was so good and like she's had a lot of really, really good matches as of late. And also, you can catch her if you've never seen her before on IWTV on Naptown All Pro presents Ultra Light Beam, which should be up by now on IWTV. She teams up with Bradley Prescott the fourth to face the Delinquents. So you should definitely watch that match.
Yeah, most definitely. Next part, I want you to list your top 10 wrestling games that you've ever played. Like you don't have to be in no particular order, but just list 10.
All right, bet. Let me think of this real quick. SmackDown versus Raw 2006 is always my number one. Like 06 is my number one. Day of Reckoning 1 is always my number 2. Like those two kind of interchange a lot. But I always say that that's my 1 and 2. Day of Reckoning 2 is also up there, so I'll put that as 3. SmackDown versus Raw 2007. I'll throw on that list, not in any particular order though, for a 4th. SmackDown Here Comes the Pain as a 5th. I will say this is a hot take. SmackDown Shut Your Mouth is also on this list for me of top 10. I think Shut Your Mouth is better than Here Comes the Pain. So I'll put Shut Your Mouth up there. I'll put so that's 6. I'll put No Mercy on there just for like how crazy the modding scene got, and like that Aki engine is still really, there. Really good.
Like
it's
the modding scene is still
holds. Oh, absolutely.
Because
Shout out to my dude Tyler Black Mods, man. He's one of my favorite like modders on the No Mercy scene. He's such a good dude. Like shouts out to him. And also shout out to fucking PWM, man. Shout out to Sick Rips. Much love to Rips. Absolutely love that guy. WWE 2K19 I think has to go up there because of the modding capabilities that game ended up getting, as well as there's so much like
kept the lights on.
that and like it has such a personal spot for me just because like that's the game I started on, as well as I love sim style wrestling, and that game had all the shit that I wanted, like chain wrestling and all that shit. And while 2K22 is not perfect, I do think it's up there in my opinion, and like top 10 of my favorites. I think
I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. Like it could be better, but it's good.
I think I gave it like, I think when it came out, I was saying that like it's one of my favorite games in the past 10 years. I think I stand by that too. I think it's so fun to play, like just picking up the controller and playing it. I think it's one of my favorite games to play. It did take a little bit to get used to like the fucking Mortal Kombat system, but like, and I'm not like too big of a fan of the Mortal Kombat system they got now, but I do like the gameplay of it a lot. Yeah. And then for the last one, I'll say SmackDown versus Raw 2011. That physics engine that was only in for 2011 was really
was that the Apex Predator technology?
No, that was W12. That was the year after. Yeah, that's when they fucked up the weapons physics. 11 was the first game with universe mode. The mode that does not get shown enough love ever. And I hope to God.
I've actually said it on my last Reddit video. I said, yo, if you're not gonna give it love, just put it out of its misery.
I hope to God that like they do something crazy with it soon, because like the fact that we've had this mode now for over a decade and we've still never seen it go online is bonkers to me. I can't believe they've never done it. But yeah, that's probably my top 10. I mean, not in any specific order, other than the fact that SVR 06 is my number 1. That's my baby. I love 06.
I think I have 2 SVR. Yeah, funny story. I was supposed to get SVR 06 and 07, but they for some reason GameStop gave me 2 SVRs 07. I was heated as hell. I was like, bro, I want it 06. Where the fuck is my 06?
Crazy.
But if up to you, what content creator, like if it like I know you're doing commentary and all this stuff, but what content creator would you move the end of the earth to collab work with a project on? Because I know you talked about you love collabing with a lot of people. Like who would you say, you know what, I got to do it? I got to work. Are we talking about wrestling specifically? It don't have to be. It don't have to be just wrestling. It could be wrestling. In general. Like,
I mean, in terms of content creators, I'll give 2 answers for this. I'll give a wrestling one specifically, and then I'll give a non-wrestling one. Specifically in terms of wrestling, I want to do a video with Murphs like really bad. I have a couple ideas that I think would go really crazy for like collabs. I'm just like, I've been super busy, so like I haven't really reached out to him and asked him if he'd be down to do it. But I've always thought that like me and Murphs could do some fucking heat together. So I think Murphs on the wrestling side of things, in terms of like wrestling game stuff, in terms of like just any content creator, fuck man, there's so many people that like in terms of what I watch, there's so much like people that I watch right now. I don't know if this really counts as like content creator, but he's also had a YouTube channel for like fucking almost like a decade now. There's a skateboard filmer named Devonte Jolly. He put out a video called Godspeed by Devonte Jolly, which was all of his homies just fucking skateboarding. It's one of the coolest skateboarding videos that I've ever seen in my life. And the way he films, the vibe that he brings, like Devonte Jolly, in terms of like how he films shit and the good energy that he keeps on his dudes that are skating is just so cool. And I feel like it'd be a vibe to like do something with him. I don't know what it would be, but that's something like, because I've been cracked out of my brain for the past 2 months now trying to figure out like how can I do skateboard filming for wrestling. But
wrestle on a skateboard.
but yeah, like probably Devonte Jolly if I had to pick somebody like not in the wrestling realm.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we've had quite the conversation for this rendition.
Hey, I'm down to keep going if you want. It's up to you.
Hey man,
I ain't doing nothing.
I mean, I don't ran through all my list, but
you telling me you can't improv? You ain't got you got Phoenix Nitro here. You ain't want to ask him. I'm just kidding.
But no, one thing I kind of wanted to really like divulge on really was mental health, because I know like we've always had that conversation, or at least like a lot of people don't really understand the conversation that as whether it's a creator or as a human being, to pull back the tape a little bit. How has your mental health been as of late?
I mean, like so for anybody that like follows me and stuff like that, ever since I've started, in terms of like being in the public eye, I guess, I've always been a big advocate for mental health, because to me, growing up, like I never saw anybody talking about shit like that. And like I never knew that it was normal to like feel like mental shit like that. Like I never knew that other people were going through that. I never knew that like other people were having issues like that and shit like that. So I've made it a big thing of mine to always talk about my mental health, and always talk about like if I'm feeling down, if I'm feeling like I ain't shit at the moment. Like I go through imposter syndrome a lot, where like I feel like I'm not like good, I guess. Or like I'm like somebody else, or like I'm not as good as like I act like my accolades could like show that I am, or anything like that. I go through imposter syndrome a lot with like shit like that. But in terms of like mental health, like I'm always a very big advocate of saying like, hey, I'm not okay right now, but I will be. But like right now, I'm just not in a good spot right now. Recently on social media and stuff, I've said that like I wasn't in a good spot. Like now I am, like I'm fine now. But like for like a solid like 2-3 weeks to a month this past month, like I've just been like I think September 2022 will go down as like one of the worst months I've had in like probably like 4 years, maybe 4 or 5 years of just like me just being down and like fucking out, basically, of like just not wanting to do anything, just mentally being fucked, just like having like a lot of shit on my mind. But I feel like I needed to go through that, because now like the mental clarity that I've had for like the past 3 days at least have been really, really good. And like a big part of my brand has always been like stay true to yourself and don't let nobody tell you what the fuck to do. Like a big part of my shit is like I have an entire action figure set up behind me. Like the shit behind me is a fucking action figure setup like that.
Oh, sweet.
Like, you can't see it, but you can kind of see like the fucking action figure stage like right there with the ECW brick wall and shit.
Right.
And like it's a diorama and all that shit back there. But like I post a bunch of figure photography on Instagram because I don't care. Like I don't believe in that whole concept of I need to like fake my personality, or like I need to fake I need to fake who I am just to get views or clicks or anything like that. I'm a fucking geek who loves wrestling and wrestling figures and wrestling video games. Like that's me. That's my personality. Like I'm very proud of that I don't fake that shit. Like I still take pictures of like my Sammy Guevara figure doing a springboard cutter to like my John Cena figure. Like I got a Cassius Ono figure that be throwing elbows on the custom fucking Phoenix Nitro figure that I got on my desk. Like
Sweet.
I got like shit, I just dropped it. But fucking there's your Twitter clip. Fucking I take a lot of like just a lot of pride in that shit of like I know when I was growing up that like I would have appreciated seeing like people saying, "Hey, I'm going through something right now," because I never saw that. I never had somebody like that I saw that I was looking up to being like, "Hey, I'm going through something right now." It's kind of like that off of Kendrick's last album, like I've been going through something, like I've been going through something. Like I've been going through something for when I came back and started making content again. The original idea that I had for like my return video was gonna be the intro from United in Grief by Kendrick Lamar of I've been going through something like 1,855 days. I've been going through something. Like I've not been there for the past 6 months, but I'm good now. Like you're never 100% with this shit. Like there's always bad days. It's a roller coaster at the end of the day. There's ups and there's downs, and we live until we die. And that's just the fact of life. No Eli Drake. Like you're never going to be 100%. You're never going to be at the tip top, because no matter what, life always has a funny way of like just the peaks and the valleys, the ebbs and the flows. And when you get more age under you and more experience of life under your belt, you start to realize that a lot more, and like things start getting put more into perspective and things of that nature. But that's something like I've just been really, really big on, is the mental health stuff, man. Like I feel like sadly, growing up, a lot of people have always seen like shit promoted in the media of like, you got to be like this, like you got to be like that. Like I know what happens to women a lot, of like objectifying and things of that nature in media at like such a young age, that like people think they have to do this or that, and like it fucks with your mental. Like same thing with like shit, we watch pro wrestling. I fucking see Randy Orton when I'm fucking 8, and then now I'm pudgy when I'm like old. I'm like, damn, bro, I don't got abs. That's crazy. Like it's like shit like that, like just like little shit like that. Like it just fucks with your head. Now that ain't the reason why my shit be happening all the time, but like it's like I wish that there was just I try to be what I wish I had whenever I was growing up. And I feel like there needs to be conversations about mental health, especially nowadays, man, with like especially if you look at like stuff like suicide rates and things of that nature. Like I feel like we all need to talk more, and we all need to like check in on your homies, man. Even if it seems like they're okay, just reach out to them at least once a month, if not once a week, and just be like, hey bro, how you feeling? How you good? Like it took
me I think it took me into well into my 20s to get to that point, because I know at a young age I was forced to grow up mentally. Like not that many father figures in my life. The one that I had, he didn't really do a good job, in my opinion, to the point where it's like I want nothing to do with him. But it's like, and it got to the point where I was holding that shit in to where people was like, hey, you need a father figure. I'm like, nah, I'm good, I'm doing good. Nah, in reality, I wasn't doing good. So I didn't really have too many examples. So it's like once I got into my 20s, probably 23 is when I was like, you know what, something needs to change. And now that I'm finna be 28 and in this month, it's like I feel like that light went off when I was 26, that I'm like, okay, maybe I need to stop leading so much and take a step back and follow. Because once you follow and once you manage your mental health, because it'll be a few times where I'll be sad, it'll be a few times where I'll be depressed, it'll be a few times where I want to punch, because it was literally, I don't think a lot of people knew this, but 2012, I believe, I was cutting myself. I actually still have the scar on my arm where I cut my. It's not as clear as it was back then, but I was actually cutting myself to hide my shortcomings because it was around the time where I first started YouTube as well. So it's like I was, and that YouTube was YouTube. How did I get into YouTube? It was literally my outlet from being in my own head.
Yeah,
So
that's 100% like with me as well. Like in terms of that, like I feel like YouTube for me is a great escape. Like that, and that's something I recommend to everybody in terms of like find your escape, find your peace. Like like wrestling for me is a big thing for that. Like especially
yeah.
this is the number one thing that
Now, how
like
many
oh
times I used to get picked on for liking wrestling? That's like now that I'm older, I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
exactly. That's another big reason why like nowadays like I don't give a fuck anymore. Cause like when I was in middle school, when I was in high school, like I would always be like shy about like liking wrestling and like wrestling being my shit and like that's my biggest thing that I love. But like nowadays I'm like fuck that, bro. If you don't like me because I like wrestling, I don't like you. Like you're so like
Exactly.
if you're artificial like that, bro, like I don't give a fuck about that shit. Like, bro, I don't give a fuck like
And they be
about
cracking me
anything
up.
like
They be
that.
like, "Hey, you like that wrestling stuff, but you know that's the F word. They like to say the F word." I'm like, so is MCU, so is
Yeah, bro. It's like,
DC, so
what are you
is
talking
what are you
about,
talking about?
bro?
You know that
Like,
shit that you're wearing right now, the DC shirt that you're wearing right now. It's the same, bro. Just stop. If you like it, cool. If you don't, you can go. Like my circle is already tight as it is. You can leave and you can loosen up the tightness in that circle so we can get smaller.
exactly.
Like
It it
I don't need all y'all. Nah. Mm-mm.
it it's like it's a big thing too for me. Where like something like recently that I've started doing. And I'm sure like some people have noticed it on Twitter. I've changed the way that I like use social media a lot now.
Oh, me too.
Uh, I make it now so only people I follow can reply to me and like something that a lot of people don't know about. Like, I mean, they do now because like I've made it known because of how fucking pissed off it made me. I was getting death threats, dog, and like I was getting threats towards my child. When I started like when the W2K22 shit happened, of me, Aaron, and Brandon being the first ones to play the game, and then we gave our opinions on the game and stuff like that, and people started fucking bombarding me with like death threats, threats against my kid, and my message requests, and all this shit, and I'm like you threatening a child because I enjoyed a game, bro?
A
Like,
video
fuck,
game.
man.
A
Like,
video game.
dog, what are we doing here? But
A
like, so
video
like,
game.
what I've started doing on my social media as of late, because I'm the biggest. This is my biggest issue. I doom scroll too much. I keep scrolling. I just keep going until I see something I don't like. And I'm like, man, fuck. And I'm like, damn it, I did it again. So like now I've curated my Twitter to where like I'll still can see shit if I scroll too much, but nowadays I only use Twitter to get on, get my tweet off, and then I go to Instagram. Instagram is where I stay at now because that's where I follow nothing but like figure photography shit and then like a wrestler here, a wrestler there. Like if I went on my Instagram right now, the only thing that I see that pops up, like the first three posts that I see pop up is Ringside Collectibles, the wrestling figure site. I see Deadlock Pro Wrestling advertising Mei Saruga versus Emi Sakura happening on October 15th for the Carolina Classic. Shout out to Deadlock Pro Wrestling. Shout out to Johnny and Polis and Tony. And then I see Sol Ruka on my shit. Like I don't give a fuck about any of y'all's bullshit like on Twitter anymore because I'm like
I
fuck,
literally
bro.
use it. I literally use Instagram. Social. I literally use social media in general as a promotion.
Yeah, that's all.
Like
Like,
Instagram is literally me posting a collabs with me and my boy Highlight, or me just posting like, "Hey, it's a new Reddit video. Here's a short that I gotta upload everywhere." Like if you see a short on Instagram, you see it on TikTok. You see it on TikTok, you see it on YouTube eventually. So it's like, nah, I'm not losing my shit over comments. And
yeah,
I set it up to where because I think it took me until last month to turn the tags back on where people can tag me in photos because I used to get tagged in some weird shit into where I just say, you know, let me turn this off for a minute because I'm tired of seeing someone's privates on my notification, and then I'm at work and I open the notification and then I'm like, oh shit, it's a pussy. So
it's like fuck, man. Like, there,
social media is weird.
the thing that I will always say, and I will always say it like this: I have so much respect for everybody that works a 9 to 5. But at in the same token, what I do is not easy, just because like that. And I'm sure you've gone through the shit too, where people say like, "Oh, what you do is easy." Like, no, it is not. The mental struggle, like maybe physically, it's not like I ain't fucking moving. I ain't moving
Yeah.
shit. I'm not at the grocery store anymore. I'm not fucking moving pallets all by myself. Like I ain't
Right.
doing that no more. I did that. I ain't doing that no more. But mentally, I'm jumping through more hoops than I ever have, because I got to be my own boss. I got to make sure my own schedule's set up. I got to make sure everything else I'm doing is right. I got to make sure that I never slip. I got to make sure that the peaks and the valleys of my numbers don't get to my brain, which that's something that I'm still like trying to figure out.
As soon as you
And
click on
like,
YouTube Studio, that's the first thing you see. I'm like,
bro,
no.
and they got that shit set up where it's like, oh yeah, your videos 1 out of 10. Oh, well, you know, when you hit 10 out of 10, 5 videos in a row, damn, maybe I'm washed. Who knows? Like shit like that, man. It fucks with you mentally. But like once you process that and you get to the point where like when you process that and you get to the point where you're able to like you realize that at the end of the day, shit don't matter. You just got to keep going. You just got to keep pushing. You just got to keep going along, because at the end of the day, you're always going to have dickheads who are always going to try to bring you down. But at the same time, because it's human nature that we always notice the dickheads, for every one comment that I get that's fucking dickheadish, there's at least 25 to 30 that are like positive and amazing. It's just human nature that we only spot the negative. It's only human nature that we spot like the dickheads. But when you take a step back, you take a deep breath and you realize, hey, there's a lot of people that are like, they want me to win. They want me to succeed. Like, it's a good feeling to like have of that. And like, that's definitely something that's been helping out my mental too, is like not getting too in my own head about like my profession and my job and what I'm doing and stuff like that. But a big thing that like, a big thing, like I said, that's helped me out a lot as of late is the whole way I treat social media now, because doom scrolling is a bitch. And like, that was my biggest problem, like for a year almost, was like just scrolling too much. And
Like now
fucking
what I do is if I get like a hit tweet where literally everybody is retweeting or giving their comments on it, I'll let it curate a whole bunch of likes and retweets, and then I'll just promote the podcast or something under it, and then I just move on. Because that's another thing I always recommend people too. If you feel like social media is going to take up your whole mental capacity, limit your notifications. So now I have it set up to where if I'm not following you, I don't get notified that you commented on my shit.
Preach. That was the first thing I did.
So
the very first thing I did was that when I changed up how I use my social media, and that was like 6-7 months ago.
So now my notifications is only you or anybody that I'm following is literally, that's the only it. But if I'm not following you, I don't get your notification. And then I would have to be bored, or I'd be like, I can scroll, and I'll scroll and see something. But then when I get a glimpse of it like taking a turn, I'm like, yep, that's enough. That's enough of that. That's enough of that. And I'll turn it into a thread, like, here, check out the Gresham Leaks podcast, or here, check out my latest Reddit video, or here, check out such and such, or buy this or whatever. And then I just move on. And if people click on it, they click on it. If they don't, they don't. But nah, social media and mental health. Like I think I put out a random tweet today, because I always try to put out random tweets from time to time. I said, it's just social media. Chill out and eat a Kit Kat. Because it be people. Because I swear I stay seeing people just be losing their shit over the simplest stuff, especially wrestling sometimes. I'll be like, we all love wrestling like the next person, but sometimes y'all make it your whole personality to be an asshole. And it's like, come on.
And everybody wants to be contrary just to be on the contrary, bro. It's they want to be contrarians just to be on the contrary. And it's the wrestling Twitter, I believe. Twitter or social media, really. Social media is one of the greatest things to ever happen to mankind, because it gave everybody a voice. Social media is also one of the worst things that's ever happened to mankind, because it gave everybody a voice. It's one of the worst things ever, and it's one of the best things ever. Like, there's so many people who have now made it and made something out of themselves because of social media that I feel wouldn't have gotten the opportunity without social media. However, like myself included, 100%. However, there's so many dickheads and so many assholes and just so many people that thrive off of being pieces of shit. And it's very, very, very taxing to deal with on a mental basis. Like, the death threat shit that I went through and all that shit. It's just like, fuck, man. Like,
Over
what
a
are we
video
doing
game.
here?
Over a
Like,
video
what are we
game.
doing? And it's like,
death threats are not cool in general, but it's like over a video game,
yeah.
though.
It's like,
Come on,
bro,
man.
like, and to be honest, bro, like the shit with me didn't even really bother me. Like, I don't give a fuck. You can say you
It
go fuck
bothers
yourself.
me
Like, I
because
like,
I'm an uncle, and I
oh no,
care.
the shit about my kid was the number one thing that pissed me off. That was the one that pissed me
when
off.
you told me that the first time, I literally stared into a hole. It's like I don't even know you like that, but it's like as an uncle and someone who possibly wants to be a father, when you see someone come after kids, you be like,
It's like, bro,
all right. You be like, all right, now who trying to fight? Like you be sitting there greasing up your elbows. Be like, all right, let me find out this IP address right quick so we can handle this face to face. You wanna threaten me now? But nah, man.
It's one of the dumbest things that I think I've ever experienced in terms of like my content creation career was definitely that of like, fuck, man, what are we doing?
And then when you call them out on their bullshit, they want to play the victim. Like,
it's
like,
not
oh,
even, like,
oh,
it's
you're
not even
oh,
that, like,
you're calling me out to your millions of followers. Okay,
like it's that on top of like also like that's what they want. They want to be like that validates them. That so like that's what I do now is I just ignore motherfuckers for the most part. The the one thing I do regret high key is like that tweet that I put out where I did screenshot I screenshotted that shit where that person did say the shit about Brandon because of like, oh yeah, you're right. You needed Brandon's coattails to ride. Like,
oh
you
yeah, and
ain't
I was
shit.
like, ooh, I smelled a hater. That's what I think I replied. I said, ooh, I smelled a hater.
It's like I wish I didn't screenshot that and post it, but I had just woken up and that was like one of the first things I saw. And I was like, I wasn't really thinking, and I just posted it and I was like, fuck it, whatever. I was like, fuck, I really shouldn't have done that because like all that does is amplify like what you don't like what you dislike, I think. And because of that, it makes people know what gets under your skin. So then they'll just say it and then they'll just purposefully drive at that. But it's like if you it's the same thing with bullies at school, I feel. If you don't give them what they're looking for, they fucking shut the fuck up and move to the next person. If you don't validate what they want, if you don't give in to the childish ass antics, they're going to just move to the next person because they want attention. If you don't give them attention, they're not going to give a fuck about you anymore.
And then every time you look into like their backstory, 9 out of 10, they don't get attention at home. So they know, hey, I'm a big guy. I can bully this person and get all the attention that I think I want, but then don't realize that, hey, you probably just created a lifetime enemy because you being an asshole.
Exactly. It's like fuck, man. Like there's bigger issues in the world that like that we deal with. Like I'm very, very outspoken on Twitter about like a lot of real world issues of like it's a travesty to me that like it's a travesty to me that there are people, there are minorities, there are sexualities and like all this type of shit that purposefully get sought out after for violence, fucking criminal shit and all that for no reason other than the fact that they don't look like someone else or they don't have the same values as somebody else. And it's like, how the fuck do we still deal with that shit in the world, bro? Like it's fucking
as a black man, I already know. I literally, this is how I survive in life. I was like, bro, I already got 3 strikes. I'm a man, I'm black, and I live in America. And that's as real as I can get. Like
it's one of those things where especially like I think about shit like this a lot too, like because obviously like for those of you that don't know, my son's mixed, so like I think about shit like that a lot too. Like it's a spot where it's like, fuck, man, like there's so much shit that I be thinking about like alongside of like things like that and things of that nature. And like people that don't realize like white people that don't realize like privilege and shit like that. It's like, shut the fuck up, bro. Like you're so like, fucking like you're dense, dog.
Like sometimes I'll be telling people who I'm like, bro, you know, like people on this be trying to figure out why I say no comment was an option. It's because that is always an option. Like if you don't, it's like if you don't read out what you about to say and actually read out loud and say, maybe this doesn't sound like, maybe this sounds dumb as shit. maybe not. Let me not say that. So no comment is definitely an option. So that's my number one like response to everything. I'm like, no comment was right there. It was literally it was scratching at your ear for you to pick it. No comment, because your privilege is shown. Shut the fuck up.
It's like, fuck, man. Like one of the biggest things that like I talk about too on my Twitter a lot is like just seeing like how fucking much of a dickhead people are to like trans people. Like it's so fucking like, what are you doing, bro? Like,
Shout out Daphne. Shout out all these
absolutely
people who I'm
fucking, I
friends
love
with.
Daphne.
Like,
I love Daphne, man. Like Daphne's one of the coolest people in the community, I think. Like it bothers me so much, man, that it is 2022, it's almost 2023, and we still live in a world that like for all the
and shout out
fucking good
Nyla
shit.
Rose.
Oh, absolutely. Like it's all for all the good shit in the world. It's like,
you know how many people I had to block because I will say simple stuff like she, and I'm like,
it
why?
fucking makes people mad. And it's like,
Why
what
are
are
you
you
going out of your
doing?
way? What are you doing?
Like, bro, like why are, and it, you know, it's always the same motherfuckers. It's always some white dude with glasses in his fucking profile picture that's holding the phone too close to his face. Like it's always, it's like, bro, like what are we doing here? Like y'all are fucking just y'all are fucking racist. Y'all are fucking homophobic. Y'all are transphobic. Like get the fuck out, man. Like that shit pisses me off so much, man.
Like
And
people act like a straight man can't be friends with people in the LGBTQIA community. Like, bro, I'm straight. I'm straight as a line. But it's like you're not going to see me being an asshole to Daphne because she was born another way and she chose to be who she is now. You're not going to see me do that. It's not going to happen because I'm not an asshole.
as somebody who came out on Twitter as pansexual a couple of years back, I believe
I remember that. I think I remember that.
I believe it was like 2 years ago now.
Was it 19, 20?
Might have been. It was
it during the height of the speaking? Was it during that time?
No, it was before that. It was a couple months before that.
Okay.
It was 2019 though. It was
2019.
Yeah. Because it was before I went to wrestling school.
Okay.
For the first time. So when that happened, like so many people were like obviously there was like a bazillion people who were so supportive and everything, but like then you just see like a few dickheads and it's like, bro, what are we doing, man? And like that's the thing that's like always funny to me is that like I feel like a lot of people, because like obviously I have grown in numbers and shit since then, so like, I feel like a lot of people don't realize that about me. So like they'll say some fucked up shit and I'll be like, what the fuck are you doing? Like
because a lot of people don't really remember it now, because the original incarnation of this podcast, I actually had a co-host who basically said some transphobic shit that I didn't catch at first. And like it's like I caught it, but then I didn't process it until it was over. Well, he was like China. He basically called, because I think we was talking about China or something, and he was like, China's a man or something, some shit like that. And I was like, what the fuck? So I literally had to take that entire episode down, and that was one of the catalysts for me rebooting the entire podcast. Because for those who don't know, I had over 100 episodes, but a lot of the shit I was like, I can't continue to do this because not this way, because I need to guard who I let on my show, how I present myself. And we're here at the Gresham Unleashed podcast, or here at the Freepedia brand, we are inclusive. We don't discriminate, because it's like you want to treat people how you want to be treated. If you don't want to be treated like shit, treat everybody who comes across you like they are a human being. And I try to say this to people who don't necessarily agree with their lifestyle. It's like, if you don't agree with their lifestyle, here's this beautiful thing that you can do, and that is minding your damn fucking business. That's literally all you have to do. You don't have to say nothing. You can literally be like, well, that happened, and just move on. Like people who like to raise sand about same-sex scenes in TV shows or wrestling or whatever. I'm like, bro, you do know, if I feel like it's too much, me personally, I just turn it off. I don't think about it. I just turn it off. I'll be like, look, that's a little bit too much.
Even on some lesser serious topics of that, like motherfuckers who complain about like wrestling, like I hate the Young Bucks, but I watch the Young Bucks and I complain on Twitter, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, just don't watch their shit if you don't like it. Like,
Fast forward.
the remote is in your hand. You can click to something else. I promise you. You don't. Tony Khan ain't in your crib with the fucking Glock to your head, bro. I promise you. He's not telling you to keep watching. Like, you can turn it off.
It's a few Young Bucks matches that I was like, oh, okay, I fuck with that. And it's a few that I was like, it was a Young Bucks match. I'm not gonna be on Twitter like, yeah, fuck the Young Bucks. I'm like, I'm just gonna think about who I feel is better. I lean more towards the Usos than the Young Bucks. So you're gonna see me praise the Usos, but I'll give the Young Bucks their props. Yeah, you're not gonna see me.
Yeah, and I'm on the other end of that where I'm so big into the Young Bucks where like I prefer them over the Usos. But like there's no like that's the biggest thing I think that like a lot of people, that's another reason why I fucking can't stand wrestling Twitter is the tribalism of pro wrestling that people have where like, oh, it's AEW or nothing. Like, no, we live in like the fact that there is so many wrestling companies that like you can watch wrestling all day, every day. There is a wrestling product on television Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday,
and sometimes Saturday.
Sometimes Saturday and Sunday. There's sometimes a show on every day of the week that you can watch. It's like, why the fuck do you have such a tribal like
I try to get into Impact from time to time. I'm not really a fan of their production, like as far as like the quality. So I just don't watch it. I'm not finna say, fuck Impact. I'm like, it's some talented people that I've actually had the pleasure of meeting and following, and they follow me on social media that we've had the conversation with. And I'm like, yo, go out and support them. Go out and buy their merch. Go out and do this. I'm not finna say, oh, nah, fuck, we don't watch Impact over here. No, watch what the fuck you want to watch, bro. And I tell my listeners all the time, if I don't review a show, that don't mean you shouldn't watch the show. It's just I'm taking a break, me personally. So
it's one of the most annoying things to me, man.
It's called being an adult. At the end of the day, it's called being an adult. Grow the fuck up.
it's one of my biggest pet peeves about wrestling, like is like fans and of how annoying as fuck certain people can get with that type of shit.
And they be the main ones to be trying to get a selfie at an airport or at a meet and greet. Cause you saw the shit with Mercedes Renato, Sasha Banks, for those of you who don't know, where they was making a big saying about her wanting a distance between her and fans. Like, and bro, it was like, I'm like, bro, it's people. Like at the end of the day, she didn't feel comfortable with a lot of people up on her. It's not the end of the world, dog.
It like, and going even further with like that type of shit, it's like I see people all the time who are like, oh, I fucking can't stand GCW. GCW is like some of the worst wrestling ever. I'm like, well, then don't watch it. Don't like, why? If I don't like a song, I am not going to go on and on and on and on and make it my personality trait that I don't like something. Like there are certain content creators who make their bread off of negativity, and I hate that shit. Oh, yeah. I can't.
They are in this genre right now.
So man, yeah, like I can't stand that type of shit. I can't like. Why are you gonna continually shit on shit and continue to watch? Like you're making yourself look fucking stupid. Like there's somebody specifically I'm thinking of, but
we're probably thinking about the same person.
We absolutely are, but we're not taking any trips up to New York. So let me tell you, we're not in that. And
if I am, I don't plan on crossing paths with you. So
you know, like we're not in that spot where it's like, fuck, man, we have to continually do this stupid shit of continually watching something and like throwing it under the guard of like, oh, I'm reviewing this. Like you're an act, you're a gimmick, you're a character that specifically is thrived off of doing this for years and years and years and years. Same shit with Jim Cornette. That's his character. That's his gimmick. That's his whole shit now, is to just shit on shit that people like.
And
because it continually makes him money. Like
I'm an image individual. So when I saw that they had gray hair, when I was thinking about doing this podcast, I said, I am not doing that because I want my hair to remain black as possible, as long as possible. I do not want to get wrinkles up on my forehead getting mad at scripted sports.
Yeah, like why? If you hate it that much, which I know people like that don't really hate it that much, because if you did, you wouldn't fucking watch it.
You wouldn't watch it. You wouldn't know the people's names. You wouldn't do none of that stuff.
You wouldn't devote 2 hours to review it. You wouldn't devote.
So you're sitting through a 3-hour show to devote 2 hours to shit on something. It's like, bro,
they're like that. Just that entire genre of people that do that type of shit, where like they'll watch the show for 3 hours, they immediately go live right after, and then they review it for 2 hours. It's like, dog, you're putting 5 hours out of negativity, like in your life. Like, I'm sure you would have a much better time in your life mentally if you just back the fuck up. But that's kind of counterproductive to what I'm saying, though, because at the same time, it's not what they really think. And that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing I fucking hate these days.
That's why I just mute these people. That's the beauty behind the mute button. That's why that's the beauty behind the mute button. I mute. I tell YouTube directly, do not recommend me their fucking content. Do not show me their tweets. Do not, like, I'm not finna give you sympathy because you out here spewing negativity, and then you want to play victim when you get called out, because I'm pretty sure Alexa Bliss and Baron Corbin and all these people have called them out for the bullshit, and they want to play victim, like, oh, it was just a gimmick. Why are you playing what?
Like, bro, like, fuck, man, like, just like, and that's like, that doesn't even just like end with that type of shit either, because like,
that's in general, really.
I don't know if you've seen the Malachi Black shit as of late. Like, I don't know if you saw his Instagram live. Like, I've seen that.
I've seen a lot of that stuff. Like, I don't talk about it on the podcast for obvious reasons, because we're mainly here to talk about, to have fun, and then the occasional mental health discussion like we're doing now. But yeah, we try to avoid that. But yeah, I keep up with pretty much everything behind the scenes as much as I can mentally handle. And yeah, that shit is fucked up. Like, bro, he can't even enjoy his day off.
Like his Instagram live that he did a couple days ago, where he just came on and basically was like, hey, stop fucking lying, bro. like what the fuck are y'all doing? Like, I'm like, I fucking feel that so much, where it's like, because that's what happens with this type of shit, right? It's like people spew bullshit, and because they have a following, because they have a fan base, then that fan base believes it is fact. And sadly, that's not how shit works. That's not, because somebody says something first, and it's fucked up, because these days, and there's a lot of people, and like even myself, I'm guilty of this at some points, like typically the first impression you hear of something is what you're then gonna think. If I were to tell you, like, I don't know, like Murph's YT13 punched a kangaroo, you would probably be like, damn, that's crazy, Murph's, why you punch a kangaroo? Like, you wouldn't look further into it. But one day, if you're like, hey, Murph's, why you punch that kangaroo? And he's like, what the fuck are you talking about? like it's like, I didn't punch a kangaroo. And it's like, okay, well, I mean, I heard that. And he's like, and you still try to play it off like you're right. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. You, like, I hate dirt sheets, like in that term, like people that report on the drama and shit like that. I don't have a problem with, like, I know a lot of people have a problem with like Meltzer rating matches and all that. In my opinion, it goes the same thing as like a movie review. Reviews are always supposed to be taking, or like in terms of like ratings and shit like that, right? They're supposed to be taking as just that, ratings, in terms of like you
it's not the be all end all.
Yeah, well, no, not even that. Like you're supposed to, like, people in movies, you're supposed to find a reviewer that has similar taste as you, so that way you see their review on something and then you're like, okay, well then I'll probably think the same thing, but let me give it a shot. Right. People that go, oh, I can't believe this match was rated 5 stars by Dave. It's his opinion. It doesn't matter. There's nobody that's here that's saying, hey, here's the Guinness World Record for 5-star matches. No, it's not. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
You can make your own. You can make your own.
Exactly. It's just a review. It's just an opinion.
Like the PWI 500.
Exactly. Who cares? Who cares? It's a criteria based of certain people of what they think. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's just opinions. Ladies,
doesn't matter what you got me out here being like a rock.
I hate to be the bearer of bad news. I hate to be this guy to tell you this. There are no statistics for pro wrestling. in that nature that there are in the NBA. There are no 3.0s, there are no .30, there's no field goal percentages, there's no 3-pointers, there's nothing.
That's literally something Dave Meltzer created in the 80s.
And it's not even his fault. It's just his review. It's just his opinion. Motherfuckers, you value it too much. It's like, it don't matter. It don't matter. Why are y'all? I think it got to the opinion.
It got to the point where it's like you can't even, as a podcast, to say Dave Meltzer without people. Ugh.
And it's and like, I'm gonna be honest, that's kind of fucked for him, because it's like, it's not his fault motherfuckers put so much weight into his opinions and shit. And this is just me saying this in terms of match reviews. In terms of all the other shit where he covers drama and all that bullshit, fuck that. I hate that shit.
I don't care about that.
Yeah, in terms of just the match review side of shit, of like, here's this star rating, it's just a fucking opinion, bro. It don't matter. Why are you letting someone else? If Gresh right now told me I hate mint chocolate chip ice cream, I don't give a fuck. I love it. I don't care. I will still go to Baskin Robbins, and that's number 72 of their 31 flavors. The math don't equate, but neither does Scott Steiner, so we're cool. It don't matter. Like, damn, this should just make me want to shake somebody. Like,
you'd be like, I don't like mint chocolate chip cookie, but what more for me?
Exactly. Like, bro, like, just because, like, if it, like, people that are like anti-weed and shit, I'm like, cool, more for me. I don't care. Like, bro, like, fuck, man, like, y'all motherfuckers that put too much weight into somebody else's opinion
and life
is the craziest shit. And like, there is let me make myself very clear, because like, there is a strong difference between having an opinion that is a review and just being purposefully negative and being purposefully spewing bullshit. That's just bullshit. And like, I feel like there's a lot of people these days who get away with just spewing bullshit and who get away with just spewing negativity. And because people that are negative like that shit, sadly, we live in a world where negativity draws more than positivity. You will always see a negative story in the news before you see a positive story in the news. It sucks, but it's the way that the fucking human nature is, sadly. I wish it was anything but those motherfuckers will continue to do that. And sadly, those motherfuckers who don't like that shit just have to deal with it. And I mean, at the end of the day, that's what I do. I just mute motherfuckers, because I don't block everybody. I don't block nobody no more, because that means they win. They take that as a dub. And I'm like,
they screenshot that shit and put it on there like, oh, I guess I struck a nerve.
Bro, people that like
y'all be grown as hell.
Blocked, it's like, what are y'all doing? People that celebrate being blocked by wrestlers and shit, like, it's like, what are y'all doing? Like, what are we doing?
If I'm blocked by a wrestler, I literally say to myself, I say, well, I probably deserved it. I probably said some shit they didn't agree with.
You ever randomly go on some wrestler's Twitter, like you want to look up like something off their Twitter, and you notice you're blocked, and you're like, what the fuck? Because I have a funny story about that. I randomly, in the first Vibe House, this was the day Edge came back at the Rumble. Okay. I went to go to Edge's Twitter, and I was blocked, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what did I do? So I went to my Twitter and I searched the word Edge, and I guess I put out a tweet that said my neck is like Edge, but I'm like, my neck is literally, I have the same shit. Literally. I'm not joking. The doctors told me it's the same thing. I'm sorry. I don't mean it, but like, we the same with it. Like, I'm hoping I get to come back soon at some point or something. Damn. But like, I'm like, what the fuck happened? Like, what happened? We were so perplexed in the house that day. we were so confused for like a good solid 12 hours until finally I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna search Edge and see what I said. And I was like, what? No, this is why this has to, like, what? And then it made me wonder. I was like, damn, Edge was in his log cabin, feet kicked up on the coffee table, drinking out of a coffee cup, typed in his name, said, this kid's making fun of my neck. No, I promise you, bro, our neck is the same. I'm sorry. I got dropped on my head. It broke when I was in high school. It fucking happened. I apologize. I'm sorry. You gotta believe me. It's like, fuck, man. Like, shit like that's always funny though. Like, There,
Oh man,
I know because I know recently the Teddy Long shit was like the big topic.
yeah, that was a big thing, and I'm like, his account got hacked, and they was blocking people. I was like, oh, I'm not blocked. I'm good.
Bro, speaking of Twitter accounts that got hacked, did you see the Doc Rivers shit that happened recently?
Oh, with when he was liking porn or something.
When he was liking all the porn, yeah, and then like he came out, I was like, I was hacked. I was like, I don't know if you were hacked.
I don't know about that, bro.
I just think you old and you don't realize people can see your likes. And there are a lot of people. Let me just. This might be one of the closing statements here.
Yeah,
we can see your likes on Twitter.
We see
Please
you.
stop liking the porn, man. And if you all about it and you don't have no shame in your game, well, keep on keeping on. But I'm about tired of seeing y'all liking some freak nasty shit at 3 p.m. on the afternoon.
It'd be 3 p.m. Go eat lunch. Go eat dinner, motherfucker.
Bro, sometimes it'd be at like fucking 11 a.m. And I'm like, bro, you ain't get breakfast? Like you ain't get breakfast.
So
you ain't want breakfast. Like you ain't want waffles? No, you ain't want waffles. That's crazy.
How was the pancakes?
They were trying to get some pancakes on them likes. Let me tell you, they tried to put some maple syrup on it. They tried to put the sausage link in it. It's crazy. I can't believe it, bro.
It's like here's a nice little tip. Create your second account that you can literally.
No. Fuck that. Here's the real tip. Bookmark it, bro. Don't like it. Just bookmark it. If you like it and you don't want people to know that you like it, bookmark it. I'll open my bookmarks right now. I ain't gonna see not a damn thing except cause that I see pop up on my timeline that I want to see at a later date. And then I also see wrestling moves that I wanted to try when I was going to wrestling school. That's all I got in my bookmarks. But guess what? I didn't like them shits, but I knew if I clicked bookmarks, I would find all this shit real quick.
If I look at my bookmark, oh, there's a twerk video. Never, yep. So see, hey, you got to bookmark them.
I'm saying, man. It's like, please.
I think the reason why I stopped liking random shit too is because I'm being followed now by a lot of check marks. So that I probably want to work with in the future, so I don't want to run them off. so I'm like, yeah, let me chill on that right now. So
it's like, bro,
but all in all, man, and to wrap us up, because this was actually a fun ass episode, an interview with my boy Dalt, aka Phoenix Nitro. All in all, social media is just social media. Learn your boundaries, learn other people's boundaries, respect them, and take a break. Sometimes you just gotta literally just take a break from social media, because some people literally create social media just because that's their life. They want to make that their life. It's no, take a break, take a beat, calm down, eat a Kit Kat, eat a Snickers. Hey,
all in all, take a nap. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Speaking of nap, one last time before we get out this bitch, I gotta do it to you. Naptown All Pro on IWTV. That's independentwrestling.tv. Go get you a $9.99 subscription. Watch Naptown All Pro presents Ultra Light Beam. By the time this comes out, it'll be out streaming on that platform. But on October 16th, if you are in the Indianapolis, Indiana area, make sure you come out to Dreams and Nightmares. There are 9 matches on the main card. There's a big costume battle royal on the pre-show. You will not want to miss it. There's 2 big title matches, including the Independent Wrestling World Championship being on the line in the main event, as AC Mack defends against Hoodfoot Mo Atlas in what is sure to be an absolute barn burner. You, of course, got Rico Gonzalez going up against Sonico. You got Thick and Juicy 2.0, which features Brooke Valentine and Willow Nightingale going up against Chase Holiday and Sean Kemp. You got Isaiah Broner going up against Myron Reed. The Delinquents featuring Josh Fuller, Mikey Banker, and Jet Jagori go up against Kai Faden and 2 mystery partners. You got MV Young versus Josh Crane. You got Jocelyn Navarro versus Sandra Moon. You got the Black Wrestlers Matters Championship on the line as JDX defends against D-Rogue and Trey Shaw. And last but certainly not least, you got Canyon Cavern going one-on-one with Lazarus. Make sure if you're in the Indianapolis, Indiana area or the surrounding area on October 16th, you come out to the far east side of Indianapolis, Indiana at the Far East Side Community Works building and come say what's up to your boy. Hey, I'm glad we finally got to come on here, man. I wanted this to go a little bit longer than what you usually do, just because we've been talking about doing it for so long. Hey, anytime you want me back on here, just let me know when our schedules link up. And hey, next time we kick it in person, we definitely got to do one of these in person. That would be dope.
That's one of my goal is to eventually get a spot here in Atlanta for me and Swella to link up so we can do the podcast in person, because she's getting tired of doing it over the internet. And I'm like, yeah, it podcast in room. I feel like in room podcasts are more intimate and more, it feels a little bit more better than internet. Especially if it's a shoddy internet. Sometimes some people's internet goes in and out, but the in person is always better. But if you guys haven't tuned out by now, because we was chopping and chopping, like I said, social media, take a break. Mental health matters when it comes to social media, social life, and life in general. And if you don't agree with someone's lifestyle, ignore it or just shut the fuck up. And with all that being said, you already know about NAP, NAP. Where can people follow the actual person behind the voice of violence? Is that what was the narrator of violence? The narrator of violence. Let me get that right. The narrator of violence. Where can people follow you on social media if they haven't done so already?
Hey, you can find me on all social media platforms at Phoenix Nitro. You can also make sure, and I will say this more so than my own shit. Make sure you go and follow Naptown All Pro on all social medias. That's at Naptown All Pro on all social medias. You can see me advertising it on pretty much all of my social medias as well. That's what I care the most about right now, aside from VYBE, which you can also go and follow VYBE on all social medias. That's VYBE. On Twitter, that is We Are VYBE, I believe. And on Instagram, I believe it is We Are VYBE as well. You can find us on youtube.com/VYBEhouse. That's VYBE house. I would hope you understand how to spell house. But I appreciate you guys once again for allowing me to come onto this platform and talk to y'all directly with your boy Gresh. Make sure y'all buy that merch that Gresh got, because that merch go crazy.
Flexing season, because we flex. We like to flex over here. We some strong mofos over here. But yo, as always, if you haven't already, make sure you follow the podcast itself at Gresh Unleashed. That is everywhere. That is on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. You can follow your boy at Josh Gresham ORG. That is on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook is Joshua Gresham ORG. But it's all the same vibes up in here. And with that, and all in all, if you haven't listened to the audio format, you can visit it over at www.gressunleashed.com. That way you can leave us a rating, leave us a nice little 5-star rating if you haven't already. That way you can push us up in the category, because according to YouTube and all this stuff, we have to ask you guys for that. So I'm going to oblige and ask you guys to hit that subscribe button and hit that follow button, hit that like button, wherever you see the option to make this go up into whatever the algorithms of whatever we post is at. Make sure you hit that like button if you enjoy kicking it with your boys and your bros and your sis in regards to Swella as well. And make sure you follow her as well at Swella the Bandit at 3, or you can just go check out solo.to/Swella so you can get all her links as well. And with that being said, you guys stay safe out here in the world of unknown. But as your favorite voice that does the most, I have to remind you of the one known, that is you are appreciated and loved, and especially by me. And remember to always eat, sleep, flex, and repeat. We out. Be breezy. Cop the merch if you haven't already. Cop the merch. I am going to beg you until you cop the merch.
Yeah, cop it.